Hi everyone, this is Erica Sabo. Welcome to another episode of My Bet. So today I wanted to give you my impressions of Tales of Xillia here. If you follow me on Twitter or Facebook, I posted about the game and about beating the game finally and getting most of the sub-events too. I was super stoked for that. I really wanted the trophy. I believe it's sub-event superhero or something like that. So I was quite pleased getting the Devil's Beasts and everything too. So I'm still in the middle of playing the game. I have yet to go to Magnus Zero, and I have yet to play through Jude's story. However, I wanted to give my impressions of the game and what I thought of it. Now, I think it's kind of a no-brainer that I absolutely love this game. It gave me a chance to really play without any need to actually review the game, but I still want to give my impressions of it. I didn't want to play the game in a way where I had to speed through it and not fully enjoy it for what it was worth, right? So this gave me a really good chance to just hunker down and play like I should be playing. And I didn't even have to grind, actually. I played any way I would otherwise, I guess. Just without having to do that, without having to grind and to farm. Not yet, at least. Maybe when I get to Magnus Zero, then I'll have to deal with that. But it was a great game, I'll be honest. I was really amazed by the experience. Let me tell you a little bit more about it and why it's such an amazing example in the Tales series. Now, I'm a big fan of the Tales series and Namco Bandai's approach to the JRPG genre through these games. I really love it. I find them very aesthetically pleasing. I find the characters to have a lot of chemistry. I find the experience to be less dramatic than, let's say, in a Final Fantasy game. However, I don't necessarily find every game in this series to be lighthearted, only a few have been, but it does cover a lot of mature themes, and it does cover a lot of really just engaging story elements. It can involve like the gameplay itself. The battle systems are always really engaging, this one included. The story here in Xillia, it's much more about being human, taking responsibility, and I think most of all, finding your own personal path in life and striving for that. And I think Xillia does a really amazing job of covering that particular theme. I think all the characters had amazing chemistry. I really love Elvin, but I had a big crush on Elvin the entire time. I was just like, oh my god. I like characters like him a lot. I don't know what you call characters like him in JRPGs or animes, but I really love characters like that. But I loved all of them. I loved Mila. I loved her determination and her pursuit for her purpose. She was very driven, motivated character, and just very focused on her mission. I found that really engaging. I wasn't so sure about Jude at first, and this is why I played Mila's story first. But as I played, I realized what a compassionate, driven person Jude is in his own personal way. I really enjoyed him a lot. I'm actually really looking forward to his story and playing through New Game Plus. I'm quite excited to decide where to distribute my my grade points. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I mean, in terms of every element, whether we're talking about characters, whether we're talking about music, gameplay, what I particularly liked here is that in each area, the levels were very big, considering. I mean, you could go through them pretty quickly, yes, but the dungeons themselves were quite detailed and they had a lot to offer. There was a lot of exploration involved, and of course there were a lot of sub-events involved. Now, when I did my sub-events, I was using a forum so I could make sure I got everything, because getting everything in this game just accidentally is not something that you can really do. It's a matter of, in many cases, you go to one area and then you go back to that same spot in that area, or other convoluted ways of going about triggering these events, and I wanted to make sure I got as much of the story as I possibly could in my playthrough. Now that said, you do get different throughout the game, depending on who you're playing as. You do get different how would I put it, perspectives. Obviously, you're getting Mila's perspective, you're not going to get Jude's. And there are various points in the game where I actually miss out on what's happening with Jude and the team, etc. And I find that really interesting because I'm actually really curious. There were things that they referenced during cutscenes, but I didn't actually know what happened. And I didn't hear those conversations between those characters. So it really makes me want to see for myself and open up the story even more. Yeah, and in terms of the story, I thought it was really great, and it really makes me want to learn more about it and really play Xillia too. That I'm very excited for, and I'm really happy it's going to be coming out next year. Now, Tales of Xillia isn't a perfect experience by any means, but that's kind of why I like it even more, is relishing the fact that there are cons to a game while still absolutely adoring it. I think that's a really adult approach to things rather than raging and whining. I know at first, and I know this was a problem for many people, but the voice acting. The only person who I had a problem with the voice acting was Mila at first. However, when I thought about it, many female characters in video games tend to have very high voices, whereas Mila had a much lower voice. And when you think about it realistically, we don't all have those high voices. Like, I know I have a soft, lower voice, but I'm happy with my voice. I'm proud of my voice. I don't know, like, I don't even know if I'm proud of it. But it's one of those things where it did give more of a realistic approach. Like, does she have to talk a particular way? I don't necessarily think so. And I think it's just a matter of getting used to her voice and getting used to who she is. It could be with anybody in real life as well. You might not necessarily like their voice. You might think their voice is annoying, you know, whatever. But in the end, it's the character themselves that should win you over. It's the person, the personality behind that person that should matter. And I really find that that really came through in the end. To be honest, compared to some other games in the Tales series, I found these voices less annoying. I found them more approachable. I found them to be more in tune with what they could be. They weren't overly exaggerated by any means, except for Teebo, but Teebo's Teebo, let's just say that. I was quite annoyed by Teebo, but that's one of those kinds of characters, right? Aside from that, I mean, if I had any other things to say about the game, the normal mode, which I played in Mila's playthrough, was very easy. It was very easy, and I kind of plowed through the game. The only hard part was probably the first fight with Muse, and I'm sorry if that spoiled anything for anybody here, but it was excruciatingly hard between Mila and Muse. It took me a while, and I was so frustrated, and I like that, but that sudden spike, I don't quite understand. I don't understand why there had to be such a spike, aside from the fact that it's just Mila doing it on her own. But it was quite difficult, and I did have to spam Muse in order to win that battle, unfortunately. In my next playthrough, I do plan on playing on hard. I like a bit of a challenge in these games, and while here I got to really focus much more so on the story and really enjoy that, focus on the sub-events and anything else I wanted to, I was a little bit disappointed with that. The same goes with the Devil's Beasts as well. They were quite easy. The last one as well in Titalian Abyss. I was a little disappointed. I was expecting that one in particular to be more difficult, but he wasn't. He was not. But, you know, whatever. That's fine. I had a great experience regardless. My last issue with the game, if I were to ever have an issue, was actually the ending. I'm not going to offer any spoilers here, but I am going to say that it did seem quite rushed. I know some people might disagree on this. However, I think the escalation and the change in, not so much a change, but more a growth in character was very sudden towards the end. It was very much like a, oh my god, I can't believe you're doing this. Okay, that's okay, we're friends again. it's a very sudden thing, and it's not very realistic in approach compared to the rest of the game and the realizations that go on while playing, and about these characters, and what they realize about themselves and how they become stronger people in the end. So I did find that contrast to be a little bit too black and white for my taste. However, the epilogue itself was really wonderful and really heartwarming, and really bittersweet in a way as well. Like I said, I'm not going to actually spoil anything there, but it was very bittersweet, and it did send a really strong yet subtle message at the same time, which I found interesting. I know these kinds of games like to go out with a bang, and this one didn't. This one did not go out with a bang. I feel like there were much stronger cutscenes earlier on, and there aren't very many cutscenes in this game. But this one wasn't as it wasn't as strong, yet it still had a very powerful message in the end. So if there were any faults to this game, it would be these, and I mean, these are debatable for many people, and these did not deter me from continuing on my journey through the game, and this has not deterred me from playing New Game Plus by any means either. It just makes me want to play it even more, and before I do that, of course, I have to get through Magnus Zero. We'll see how that goes. I'm already about level 70 right now, so I feel like it can happen. I feel like it'll work out. So I hope you enjoyed my impressions of Tales of Xillia. If you have any comments or questions about the game itself, please leave them below. And honestly, if you're looking for suggestions in the Tales series, this is definitely one of them. This is by far one of the strongest examples in the series, in my opinion, and I find it to be a very important addition in the series as well. So if you are looking to check out a new Tales game, or if you're maybe feeling a little bit jaded by another Tales game in the past, don't be, because Xillia is a very, very great one, and it's yeah, it's definitely well worth your time. So please check out this game. It's really great, and I hope you enjoyed my impressions. Yeah, just let me know what you think. Alright, peace.